Beyond the Deck presents Guide to the Tower. The Tower is the 17th card in the major arcana of a tarot deck. It is typically illustrated as a tower struck by lightning, often beneath a dark sky, as two figures fall from it. Though the destruction appears terrifying, the lightning exposes instability, suggesting collapse brought by truth, upheaval, or awakening. This card represents disruption, revelation, and freedom that emerges when false structures can no longer stand. Symbols often include the lightning bolt, sudden truth and intervention, the crown, pride and false security, the falling figures, loss of control and surrender, and the flames, purification and transformation. Together, they portray the forces that shatter illusion, chaos and clarity, destruction and renewal, shock and necessary change. The card evokes upheaval rather than simple disaster, a confrontation with what has become unstable, dishonest, or unsustainable. Renewal here comes not through resistance, but through accepting truth and finding the courage to rebuild. The Tower reminds us that collapse may feel final, yet clearing away illusion is the first step toward a stronger foundation. The Tower embodies upheaval, revelation, and transformation, inviting honesty about unstable foundations, courage to face sudden change without surrendering hope, and faith that every fallen structure carries within it the open space to rebuild with truth, restore integrity, and reclaim personal freedom. Upheaval. The Tower stands as a sudden force of upheaval, the lightning that tears hidden weaknesses into the light. It is not simply the presence of chaos or destruction, but the powerful shock of revelation, the unexpected rupture that can shatter certainty while revealing what was never built to endure. Here, we are reminded that not every structure is strong enough to survive, and that some forms of security are sustained through illusion, pride, or resistance to change. The Tower does not politely reveal the truth. It strikes without warning, allowing disruption and revelation, fear and liberation, to confront us with the reality of what can no longer govern our lives. Its sacred essence lives in the understanding that upheaval exposes weakness, that instability grows where truth is denied, and that renewal begins when the ruins are honestly faced. Even within destruction, there is wisdom, and within every collapse, an invitation to recognize what may be rebuilt. The Tower is the lightning fire of the journey, the upheaval that tests strength. It is the reminder that revelation breaks illusion, that acceptance restores power, and that every confrontation with sudden change is not a punishment, but a passage into deeper freedom within the eternal cycle of destruction and renewal. Revelation. Revelation is the flash of truth, the awakening that begins when illusion or certainty loses power over us. It is not always gentle, but shocking and undeniable, as hidden weakness becomes visible. The Tower teaches that weak foundations cannot hold forever. It strikes as change, upheaval, and insight begin to transform us. It asks for acceptance, revealing that renewal begins through recognition, not resistance. There is intensity in revelation. It unfolds through disruption, exposure, and release, the shattering of illusion, the surrender of control. At its core, the Tower carries a simple truth. Upheaval creates the space where rebuilding can begin. Nothing needs to remain concealed. It can be faced, inviting the soul to clear the ruins, reclaim its strength, and move freely within the rhythm of life. Transformation. Transformation is the process of rebuilding what has fallen apart, where revelations, disruption, and release reshape our foundations. It is not destruction, but renewal, a direct and necessary awakening. This upheaval exposes weaknesses, illusions, and structures at their root. The Tower does not destroy without purpose, nor does it leave us unable to rebuild. Transformation asks for acceptance, courage in the face of uncertainty, and the strength to create stability from the ruins. It unfolds in crisis, revelation, and places where illusion has obscured the truth. Yet within that disruption, something vital can be discovered. When transformation completes its work, what emerges is not a return to the life from before, but a stronger expression of being, conscious, resilient, and ready to rebuild with greater truth upon foundations shaped by wisdom and freedom. The tower speaks to the powerful force of upheaval, the sudden revelations, shocks, and disruptions that dismantle our foundations without warning. It reminds us that the structures which shelter us are not always stable or true, but can endure through illusion, resistance, and misplaced certainty. This card teaches that renewal does not come through resistance, but through acceptance, through facing truths that unsettle us and understanding why change has become unavoidable. The tower exposes rather than protects, offering wisdom through revelation, surrender, and courageous transformation. To walk with the tower is to confront upheaval without surrendering hope, to recognize where security has become illusion, where pride has prevented growth, and where unstable structures have restricted freedom. It is an invitation to face change, reclaim strength, and rebuild the foundations that can no longer support us. Through this awakening, illusion shatters and truth comes, each revelation exposing a hidden weakness, each response drawing us closer to the stronger and more authentic life we are capable of building. Keywords. Upright keywords: upheaval, sudden change, revelation, awakening, destruction, liberation, truth, chaos, transformation, breakthrough, release, rebuilding. Reversed keywords: fear of change, resisting upheaval, delayed disaster, avoiding truth, denial, instability, inner turmoil, prolonged chaos, clinging to the past, narrow escape, rebuilding slowly, repeated disruption. Meanings of symbols and colors on the tower. 1. The tower represents unstable foundations, false security, pride, and established structures. 2. The lightning bolt represents sudden revelation, divine intervention, awakening, and unexpected change. 3. The falling crown represents the collapse of ego, authority, control, and misplaced certainty. 4. The falling figures represent loss of control, forced surrender, upheaval, and liberation. 5. The flames represent destruction, purification, transformation, and spiritual awakening. 6. The dark clouds represent chaos, uncertainty, fear, and the confusion surrounding sudden change. Black fear, mystery, uncertainty, chaos, and the unknown. Gray instability, rigid structures, limitation, and foundations lacking spiritual truth. Yellow revelation, awakening, divine intervention, clarity, and sudden illumination. Red destruction, danger, intense energy, upheaval, passion, and transformation. The tower is a powerful symbol of sudden upheaval, revelation, and transformation. Its meaningful colors and symbols weave together to express chaos, destruction, and the wisdom that arises through surrender and a sudden awakening. It speaks to upheaval as both teacher and warning, offering insight through revelation and creating a foundation of acceptance, inner strength, and lasting renewal, with the truth and the path forward revealed clearly through transformation itself. The tower, when drawn upright in a tarot reading, embodies the essence of upheaval, revelation, and transformation. It represents disruption, awakening, and the loss of stability that occurs when unstable structures or comforting illusions suddenly collapse. This card encourages courage and acceptance, suggesting that now is a time to face sudden change, to recognize where pride, resistance, or false safety has gained power, and to understand what can no longer remain standing. In addition, the tower signifies chaos, liberation, and the forces that arise through unexpected revelation. It reminds us that destruction is not inherently final, but that renewal requires acceptance, resilience, and the courage to rebuild upon the truth. When this card appears, it often indicates a period of upheaval, an invitation to face what is collapsing, reclaim your strength, and recognize the weaknesses shaping yourself or your situation, knowing that revelation and acceptance can clear the ruins and guide you toward renewal and the next stage of your unfolding path. The Tower, when drawn in reverse, speaks to resisting upheaval, avoiding truth, or narrowly escaping a sudden collapse. It suggests fearing change, delaying the inevitable, or recognizing the unstable foundations that have limited growth, often arising through denial, anxiety, avoidance, or structures that can no longer remain standing. This reversal draws attention to where disruption may be unfolding within. It highlights moments when necessary change is resisted, when warning signs are ignored, or when instability and fear are finally recognized, creating inner turmoil instead of outward destruction. It may point to a time when change feels uncomfortable, when known structures are hard to release and rebuilding feels out of reach. Yet beneath this resistance lies an important message. Collapse may be delayed, but transformation requires acceptance. The Tower reversed invites courageous self-inquiry, to notice where resistance has shaped your choices, to face unsettling truths, and to rebuild inner strength as an act of renewal. It reminds you that life begins to open again when false structures are brought down, creating space for stability, clarity, and conscious forward movement on your path. Journal questions that can help you learn and understand the Tower card more deeply. What are the main symbols and images on this card, and what do they represent? Analyzing the card's imagery can help you grasp its underlying themes and messages. Look for colors, objects, and figures, and research their traditional meanings in tarot. What is the traditional meaning of this card in a reading? Understanding the card's conventional interpretation can provide a foundation for its use in readings. This includes both upright and reversed meanings if applicable. How does this card relate to the other cards in its suit or major arcana? Identifying the card's position within the larger structure of the tarot deck can offer insight into its role and significance. Compare it to other cards in its suit or sequence. What are some common themes or life situations this card might represent? Reflect on how the card's meaning can be applied to real-life scenarios. This helps in connecting the card to personal experiences and readings. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Find us on Facebook.